And it's something we've been talking about all morning, and it's something we will not stop talking about because this could signal a really big problem for a lot of people. Total mortgage balance is reaching severe delinquency levels. Now, severe delinquency means that you've missed at least 3 payments of your mortgage. This is where you live. You'd have your house taken away from you. But so if you're doing it, it's because you can't afford to pay you committed to pay something different. Circumstances have changed. But that severe delinquency exceeds $1 billion for the first time in Ontario's history. There's another study that says 1.26 million Ontarians have missed at least one form of credit payment this year, a highest rate since 2020. So how is this going to impact housing? How is this going to impact everything? We are joined now by Frank Leo, broker and CEO and founder of Frank Leo and Associates. Frank, great to talk to you.
Thank you, Ben. Pleasure to be here.
So listen, this is your business. This is your bread and butter. So talk to me about the impact that somebody, all of a sudden you got people who can't pay their mortgages. So how's that going to impact the housing market?
Well, it was a drastic increase. For the Bank of Canada rate from 0.25 to 5%, it was a 2,000% increase.
Yeah. So
the good news is on last Wednesday, the rate came down 0.25%, which is in the positive direction.
Yeah.
That being said, on $1 million mortgage, you're saving about $114 a month.
But the fact that people are not, listen, missing one, I would be so nervous if I missed one payment. People are missing 3 in a row. People could lose their homes, and then so what happens? What happens at that point? Someone loses their house,
when you default by 3 payments, then the financial institution typically will come and start a process called power of sale.
Yeah, and
that's not what you want. But the only reason people will miss 3 payments is because they can't reach them.
Yeah. So does that mean so people want to know are at this point with this Bank of Canada reduction, are prices going down, or are we going to have to wait a while before we see that happen?
There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of moving parts. The reality is that more properties are for sale currently, but it's still not enough to really have a drastic decrease in prices. And the reason more properties are coming on the market is partially because people can't afford to keep them anymore, and they have no choice. The payments are beyond what they can pay.
And look, there's someone brought something up to me a few days ago, which is something I hadn't considered, which is if the costs go down just a little bit, then it might not be enough for somebody on the lower end to get in on the market, but somebody on the higher end that was waiting for something to open up, it will finally start taking a look. So this reduction won't necessarily help those on the lower end trying to get into the market, but it will maybe allow somebody on the higher end to go up the property ladder.
Well, that is true, but we're all interconnected. So if the lower end can't afford it and prices don't substantiate for that purchase, then the next level up and the next level up will feel it as well. The issue is affordability, and it's beyond just housing, but housing is, of course, at the forefront. It's transportation, your vehicle, leases have gone up, the cost of food has gone up. People are hurting, families are hurting, and so this is a pain point that is something that we have to understand and try to find an answer to, because it can't continue this way. If it does, jobs will suffer, because, if someone doesn't have disposable income, they're not spending money, and then employment is an issue.
Yeah, it's the interconnectedness of this entire crisis. When we started talking about this on the radio, at least I did a few months ago, I was struck by how many crises sort of intersect at a nexus point. That nexus point is people's wallets, and to address one without recognizing that there are 4 or 5 other streams that are coming together in this one crisis. If you don't sort of deal with all of them holistically, then you don't deal with any of them.
Exactly. Very important. There's only one consumer and there's only one taxpayer, and they're the same person.
I don't want to take us too far off topic, but Frank, one of the things that really gets in my craw is when one level of government says, "Oh, we've only increased tax. Your tax burden is only 15%," except not recognizing that there are 2 other levels of government that each come for their own pound of flesh. And I think it's disingenuous to suggest otherwise.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't mean to take you up, but honestly, I have to wonder, as somebody who is, and I hear your radio ads all the time, I believe, I have to assume, highly effective. But have you noticed a dip in business over the past little while? Because these are terrible numbers and crisis level numbers.
Well, the Toronto Real Estate Board comes up with stats every month, and last month we found that we sold 5% less homes than last year at the same month, but we had 46% more homes for sale.
Wow.
So if that continues, of course, that's going to have an effect on downward pressure on pricing. But again, it's not enough right now. If it continues, it'll get to a point where it's going to get worse, and there will be that pressure unless something changes. And we hope something changes because families are being hurt here. This is not just numbers. These are people.
Okay, so Frank, you're an expert in this field. If the goal is to make sure that people can pay their mortgages and stay in their homes, and really, I don't think there is anything less empowering. I don't think there's anything more that someone could worry about than losing the security of the home that they've built equity in for years, the place that they're supposed to feel safe. If all of a sudden I found myself in a position where I might have to lose my home, there would be so many feelings, none of them good, that it would affect my mental health. It would affect how I view myself as a man, as a husband, as a provider, as a father. I can't imagine anything more detrimental to my identity as a man than having to lose my house. And so you have so many people who are going through that. So to me, that's probably the most important thing, keeping people in their homes. If the goal, Frank, is to keep people in their homes, and if you could wave a magic wand, what do you do to keep people in their homes?
Well, obviously, it's not raise their interest rates was the real answer before this happened. They did it too fast. It should have been done more gradually, because one of the things that you missed in what you said in feeling bad is when you sell the equity in their home. There are people who purchased near the end of this increase in prices in 2022, 21, even in 20, where now they're actually underwater, which means their home value is below what they paid for it.
Yeah.
So not only they have no cushion to kind of use to take the next step.
Yeah.
So it can be devastating. The answer is, simple. Decrease the cost, which is interest rates, or increase the income, which you have to find a way to make more money, either take another job, get someone to rent part of the home, do something like that. It's simple. This is the way it has to be done. But it's not easy because both of those are going to be definitely affecting the families. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. We're talking to Frank Leo from Frank Leo and Associates. We're talking about the impact of people reaching severe delinquency levels, unable to pay their mortgage. And I just want to let everybody know that we're going to be taking your calls. We're going to be taking your texts about how this is impacting housing. We're at 416-870-6400. We're going to have that discussion next. And look, I didn't realize it until I said it, Frank, about how intimately our personal identity is linked to where we live and the pride we take in that place and the fear that we would feel if we were to lose it. And I really want to focus on that, if we can, with people who call in and write in. I think it's a really important point. Frank, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I wish you the very best in this tough economic time.
Thank you, Ben, and you're doing a great job. Appreciate you.